is that time. It is that time. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cross Examinations. I am your host, Mike S. Miller. Just your regular run-of-the-mill. Why is my camera zoomed in so much? Oh! I know why. Because I have it blown up too much. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. Today's topic, what did I call today's topic again? California is anti-life. It's true. So, California may give Hollywood tax breaks for not working in pro-life states. Why do I live here? I don't know. But the weather's beautiful. I wonder how the weather was in Sodom and Gomorrah before the giant meteor strike that turned them into ash or whatever, however God wiped them off the face of the planet. I imagine the weather must have been beautiful. Anyways, welcome one and all to Blacklist Universe. Let me refresh this page and see if I can get today's. Oh, actually, you know what? I need to open up yesterday's too. Yesterday's Jews blame Trump for hate. Let's see if we had any comments from that episode. One comment. You guys are not leaving comments or questions. And this comment is not even showing up. What's going on here? It says one comment, but no comments are appearing. Oh, there it is. I'm just going to read this. You know what? People are saying traitor Trump's a hateful POS, but the con man's a effing moron too. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that comment anyways. So we'll just pretend there were no comments from yesterday's show. Let me do a quick double check here. Boop. Refresh. And let's see, what are we in? It is 12:05. We are in the last 12 hours of Lone Star, Soul of the Soldier. We are at $98,131. I will leave this up here for a good part of the show and refresh it occasionally, but it will not be the center of the episode. This is, after all, Cross Examinations. You can love God or you can love money. Or you can love God and he'll give you money. Well, no, that's we don't do that theology here on Cross Examinations or in my life. But I do appreciate the blessings that are coming into my life every single day. Hello, Elric. Oh, hey. 7 likes, 24 watchers. You know the gig, guys. You know the gig. Price of entry. You hit that like button. You hit that share button. And you make sure you're subbed. Hello, Elric. Hello, Aaron Alpecci. Withheld, rather not say, Fizz Pop, Lady, Celtic, Moon, Enemy. I'll go support it. I'm so stupid. Hold on. I just gotta. Yeah. On my Bible show. In communication with a friend of mine who hasn't supported my contribution yet. Alright, or my campaign yet. Fizz Pop, Lady Celtic Moon, Enemy 993. Hello, withheld rather not say. Cubs to Don. P Money. Perkindo, what's up, guys? Excal, Godzilla, Mike Ostein. Mike Ostein? What? Withheld. Can't share. I don't use social media, but I can like rock and roll. Yeah. All right. Thank you. So close to 100th day. I know. And then, I hope. And I don't hope that we cross 100K during the show, because then I have to go in and I have to rejigger it and release the Monster Hunt. Oh, my back. I should have took some Advil. Oh, yeah. Quinn has Quinn got some furniture delivered and has to push back a couple of hours. So it should be about 2 o'clock. That's the plan. And then, yes, hopefully the plan is EVS Lone Star or EVS streaming after that all the way through midnight. Hopefully. You never know. Withheld rather not say says, thanks again, Mike, for giving me the advice. I'm trying to repent of my bitterness. Awesome, Withheld. That is great to hear. Lady Celtic Moose said, I think he is bound to break 100K today. Yeah, I mean, today is supposed to be the biggest or second biggest day of the campaign. It's weird. I'm not 100% sure that's going to be the case this time. Because the last 2 days were so good. But we'll see. I'll just keep refreshing it once in a while, once in a blue moon. And here, let me scroll up. I'll just put the new cover up so you guys can see. And then we can talk. We can chat. Hello. Look at all those dislikes. Wow, Mike, you hit a nerve. Amazing, isn't it? It just started. I got 7 dislikes. There are apparently a cabal of people out there who come in just to dislike my channel. So there's 31 people watching. I doubt those people are even watching. They probably came in. They probably subscribed just to get notifications, just to come dislike my show. Because that's what spoiled little children do. Yeah, I haven't even said anything yet, Artemis Arrow, and I have 7 dislikes. So could everyone else hit the like button? And let's try to change that ratio there. You darn cabal. I know. They're juvenile. They're unintelligent. They have no real love in their life. And so all they do is spew hatred and vitriol and blame others for their own problems. So please, smash that like button. Mike just made 3,000 in 5 hours or so. Just a few more hours and he should be at his 100,000. Yeah, we went to sleep. I went to sleep last night and we were at 94. And now we're at 98. So that's actually $5,000. And thank you, Ethan Van Sciver. He was pimping it on his show this AM. After I went to bed, I think he came on the air 2 hours after I got off the air. So, as Churchill said, you have enemies? Good. It means you stood up for something in your life. This is true. Yeah, I keep thinking back to my other friend Donnie who hates me now because he thinks I'm a hater. And I'm like, I just disagree with you, dude. I just disagree. So for a lot of weird, mentally unbalanced. Sorry, Donnie, you're. I gotta call it as I see it. You're mentally unbalanced now. People, disagreement is hatred. And if someone disagrees with you, then you are justified in hating them. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, or any at all. But it is what it is. It is what it is. And people like that are the ones who come into someone's chat or come into someone's channel for the sole purpose of disliking it before they have even said anything. Peter Mike, I've been explaining it. These people are mentally unbalanced. They're sad. They live sad little lives where the best they can do is attack other people. 1,500 backers. Oh, did I cross 1,500 backers? Yes, I just crossed 1,500 backers. Actually, let me refresh. I think I did even better. 1,501, $98,271. And you know, the sweetest revenge against those who hate you for believing whatever you believe is success. So, thanks to all of you who are not these mentally challenged dimwits. This campaign is a success. So, thank you. It's pure jealousy, Mike. We have a saying here. It's better to wake jealousy on others than feel it. That's a good saying. Good saying. Withheld says, I disagree with Mike on some things like Bitcoin and salvation, but you don't see me being a jerk to Mike. I disliking you, Mike. Yeah, and that's another funny thing is my another friend of mine who I still hold in high esteem, even though he's a bit of a troll. He came on my page yesterday, on my Facebook page, which I barely am ever even on my Facebook page anymore. But I posted something about abortion, as you know I do, and another friend of mine was arguing, and then my other friend comes in and says, "No one's gonna back you up here, Chesky. This is an echo chamber. Mike lives in an echo chamber." And I'm like, I really, and then he goes on about how I don't listen to people, or how I don't like people, or don't whatever. I dismiss people who disagree with me, and I'm like, people who disagree with me on my own show, that's you guys watch me. I probably enjoy talking to people I disagree with much more. Not that I don't enjoy talking to people I do agree with, but I'd rather disagree with somebody and dialogue it, right? So when somebody comes on, like Aaron, right? Aaron, you used to come on here and argue with me quite a bit. And then Demon Vizorak used to come on regularly, and we would have these back and forths. I really enjoy that. In fact, I wish more atheists and agnostics would challenge me, because I enjoy it. That's why I'm here, to prevent this from being an echo chamber. Right on, Aaron. Yeah, step up, challenge me. If you think I'm saying something wrong, please, by all means, say so. I do not enjoy echo chambers. And everyone else, out of respect, if I'm arguing with somebody, please don't dogpile on them. Alright? Withheld says, there are pro-choicers I respect, but I respectfully disagree with. Yeah. We're not going to get into the abortion debate again. We do that entirely too often. Actually, we are, aren't we? California's anti-life. That's kind of the topic for today. Why is this topic always in the news? Why? Always. Every day it's in the news. Really, though, it is sort of the it's sort of the civil rights battle for today. Why do you have to draw a breath in order to have civil rights? Right? You remember that little baby that was being operated on because he had spina bifida? I can't remember how it was, like 4 months old in the womb, and they were operating on him, and there's that famous picture of the little baby reaches up and grabs the doctor's hand, right? This was world famous photograph. You guys remember this? That little baby had no rights. Didn't have constitutional rights because it was still hooked up to an umbilical cord and got all of its nutrients through its mother. I think it was a boy. And so in this country, in so much of this world, for some irrational, mind you, illogical, irrational reason, a baby, human being, doesn't have any rights until comes out of the womb and starts crying. Now, people who argue that that is purely a religious position, I held that position when I was an agnostic. I held that position long before I became religious, quote unquote, a Christian, or even believed in God. That is simply logic and reason. If you don't know, I mean, we know. There's no question. There's no question that is a life. That is the scientific definition of life. As soon as sperm meets egg, and the spark of life exists, that is science, science, science. They always crow about science, but they completely ignore it for this particular issue. That is life, whether you like it or not. It's not, and yeah, it is a choice whether or not to kill that life. But what is growing inside you is not a choice. Not inside me, inside a woman. What is growing inside you is a life. And yeah, why all the obfuscation? It's like, oh, it's about a woman's body. No, it's not about her body. It's about the body of the baby, the little one, this little human being about this size. You know what? I've had pets this small, right? I didn't look at them and think, well, that's clearly not alive. What's up, Ethan? Hey, thank you for going on this morning and pimping the book. Look at this. We're up to 98,349. Not too shabby. Yeah, why did I bring that up? Another guy, because that's always the argument. They completely ignore the question. And because all I posted was, I posted a picture, a real picture of a baby in utero, right? Probably 3 months old. And then the definition of life underneath it. And I said, paraphrasing, actually I could probably just read it. But I said that, scrolling back to the top, your argument about choice should always take this simple fact into account. Then the picture, life. Noun, the condition that distinguishes animal and plants from inorganic matter, including the capacity for growth, reproduction, functional activity, and continual change preceding death. We are always changing, but the maximum amount of change happens in that first 9 months. Amazing, right? Yes. If that simple fact does not factor into your... Okay, let me read it. Your argument about choice should always take this simple fact into account. If it does not, you need to do some serious soul searching. And, of course, out come the emotional responses. Always emotional. Always emotional. Never a logical or reasonable response. And like, yeah, even my friend Donnie is like, he's like, oh, I know it's murder. I I just think it's a woman's right to choose. Well, there you go. There's the truth of it. Every murder is a choice. But we do actually make some of those murders illegal. Why we make some murders legal? Matt V says a baby has completely different DNA from the mother. Science! Yeah, science is completely on our side here. Completely. 100%. Withheld says, my question for some pro-choicers who are feminists, if you care about women, then why do you want to stop women from being born? For me, I'm pro-life because I think it's anti-liberty to abort. I'm pro-life for the same reason I was pro-life. I'm more... Actually, I'm not more pro-life. I just have more reasons to be pro-life now that I am a man of faith. But my pro-life position began from logic and reason and erring on the side of caution. Err on the side of caution. Err on the side of life. If you don't know If you don't, in your weird philosophical, theological, whatever worldview that has nothing to do with facts, logic, reason, or science, don't think you know when life begins, at conception, by the way, then if you're a humane person, if you are a decent human being, and you think enough about this to make a rational decision, then you should know that you err on the side of life. That was my agnostic father's argument to me when I told him I was pro-choice. And it was a logic box I could not escape. That he's absolutely right. And I have yet to find anyone to ever argue logically against that position. Err on the side of life. Is anyone in here pro-choice? If you are, argue logically and reasonably why, as a human being with a rational mind, you would choose not to err on the side of life. Please. I don't want to live in an echo chamber. Just a nudge away from six figures. Yes. The truth is always on the middle. Abortion should be something done only after a lot of reasonable thought. There is no reasonable thought that would conclude that you err against the side of life. There's no reason. It's and almost every abortion in America, almost every abortion is done out of convenience. So you are taking the life of a human being, because scientifically that is the definition of a fetus, the life of a human being, and you are measuring it against the convenience of the mother. Convenience, life. Convenience, life. One of those is more important than the other. Hashtag six figures, Lord Almighty. You mean my boy Gojiro's movie? You pretender. Actually, I'll just check over here. I need to see where we are on time. 22 minutes. All right. Someone wants badly for Drawn and Quartered to be Godzilla. I know. I'm 100% pro-life, says Last Crusader. JW says, murder is typically highly regulated. You can get an abortion easier than getting a pack of cigarettes. Well, I don't know about easier, but I get your point. You're being a little hyperbolic. Matt B. If a child in the womb was just, quote, part of a woman's body, unquote, that would mean that she has 2 hearts, 2 brains, 2 fingers, 20 toes. Oh, 20 fingers, 2 fingers. 20 fingers, 20 toes, and partially 50% male. Yeah. Either 2 vaginas or 1 vagina and 1 penis. I don't like killing bugs, and these lunatics are murdering babies. Yeah. Artemis Arrow, I find incredible that in the USA I had to have an order for contraceptive pills, yet I could have an abortion without any other authority. Honk honk. Crazy. It's a crazy, isn't it? Thomas Fitzpatrick says, but my women rights. Yeah. I would think that a lot of the older people that argue the most vociferously for women's rights, the most emotionally for it, are people who are simply guilty. People who have murdered their own children and will not accept that they did something wrong, but they know in their hearts they did something wrong, and therefore their emotions get all jacked up about it. And rather than just sit there and accept that was wrong, instead they back up into their little corner and they pull their guns out and they defend their own error. They defend their own, the killing of their own child. Let's just put that on the table. You murdered your own child. And it is an insurmountable guilt. And if you are not willing to face that fact and admit that you're wrong, then anyone trying to explain to you that you're wrong, you are going to react with extreme emotional duress, I guess. I think that's probably the case for some of the people who were being emotional on my Facebook channel. Not naming any names. P-Money says, I am generally against abortion, but also the death penalty. Do you think it's a little more gray to be a Christ follower for or against death penalty, unlike abortion? No, I think the state has the right. I don't think we as individuals should go out and revenge on other people, but I think the state has the right to levy the death penalty for crimes that are deserving of the death penalty. I think some crimes should be the death penalty that are not currently. Child molestation. If you molest a child, off with your head, as far as I'm concerned. You forfeit your right to act as a human being, then I think you should forfeit your right to life. Abortion, 100% of those being killed in the womb are innocent. Hopefully, ideally, 100% of those being killed vis-a-vis the death penalty would be guilty of crimes warranting the death penalty. But no, it doesn't gray area for me at all. But to each his own. Jersey Devil, one could technically argue that erring on the side of life could mean allowing a woman to choose her own life. I'm pretty libertarian, and that's kind of how I see it. You mean suicide? Wait. Are you talking about suicide? Or are you talking about choosing her life over the life of the child? Okay, so the cases where a child has to be aborted, whatever the reason, I think it's very, very extraordinarily rare. But yeah, that is one caveat for allowing termination of a child. If the mother's life, not health, not mental well-being, if the mother's life, if it's the mother's life or the baby's life, the mother's life takes precedence. Peter Mike, I just want to join the side that fights for the living. Jon Snow. Jaime Lannister too, right? Isn't it against women's rights to kill a baby if it's female? Let's not try to be consistent. Granted, I wouldn't do it, but apparently, says Jersey Devil, I'm willing to forgo having a kid for now in order to make sure my circumstances are right when I do. I understand that idea, but it's expensive to have kids, but it's not like like if I had 2 kids instead of 5 kids, I could have a mansion and blah blah blah, right? I don't care. The kids are so much more important. The kids are so much more valuable. So even if you don't get your steak barbecue anymore, but you and your kids are living off of hot dogs, oh my gosh, it's the kids are the most valuable, most wonderful part of life. anyways. So, I mean, as long as you cherish them, as long as you're not, a horrible parent and an abusive douchebag, the kids are the most wonderful part of your life. So, saying, I need to be financially stable or I need to be a certain circumstance. Well, the certain circumstances, you should be married. That should be the circumstance that is important. How well off you are, unless you're living on the street, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't want to be like flat broke trying to have a kid, but if you're moderate, even lower moderate, I mean, kids are the best, man. Kids are the best. You don't forego riches for children. Forego cable TV. Forego the new iPhone. All that, it's all crap. Kids are the greatest thing on earth, and they're worth every broken toy, every broken TV, every ruined carpet, every dented car. They're worth everything. So, yeah, make your choices understanding that. All right, are we at a half an hour yet? I should probably read the article du jour. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read it. Let's switch over. Actually, let's do a quick refresh on Lone Star, see how we doing. 98,529, $1,471 away from Monster Hunt. Yeah! All right. From ChristianHeadlines.com today, California may give Hollywood tax breaks for not working in pro-life states. Hollywood, why are you just a bunch of douchebags? A California state legislator has introduced why can I not read right now? I have phlegm from my coffee. Has introduced a bill that would give filmmakers an additional tax credit if they relocate their productions to California from states with abortion restrictions. The bill targets states like Alabama and Georgia that recently passed laws either restricting or outlawing abortions, says Bill Ponzer. Bill Ponzer. That reminds me, we didn't do anything. Justin Ponzer. Posner? No, oh my gosh, I'm getting confused. The colorist from Wildstorm, he passed away this week. I personally was not good friends with him or anything. But I know a lot of the guys at Wildstorm were, so I pray you're in a better place, Justin. Funny this name comes up. Oh no, it's not Ponzer. It's Sponsor. Bill Sponsor. Oh my gosh, that was so Freudian that I was reading it like Justin's last name. Okay. Bill Sponsor. I thought it was like Bill. Bill Sponsor, Luz Rivas, a Democratic Assemblywoman. My bill provides the film industry a relocation incentive during a time of national uproar that has ensued from these shameful actions of restricting access to killing your own child, to abortion services, and the call to action from several Hollywood stars and studios to instead avoid film production in states that do not respect women or their right to kill their own unborn child, Rivas said. California is both a leader in women's rights and the film industry. We hope those who are filming in these regressive states will come to California and share our values. The tax credit would apply only to production companies that first try to locate to a state with pending or existing abortion restrictions, It would not, for example, apply to a production company that moves from a pro-choice state such as New York. The bill's text says the credit would be given to production companies that relocated to California from a state that has pending legislation or existing law that prohibits access to, criminalizes the provision of, or otherwise restricts a woman's access to terminating their own child's life services after 6 weeks from the beginning of the pregnancy or earlier. It also applies to film companies that choose to pay or incur qualified expenditures in California rather than in a state that has pending legislation or existing law that prohibits access to, criminalizes the provision of, or otherwise restricts a woman's access to killing her own child services after 6 weeks from the beginning of the pregnancy or earlier. That's so redundant. Tony Perkins, president of the Pro-Life Family Research Council, says the bill may have little success. That's because, he says, California has too many regulations compared to a film-friendly state like Georgia. The Hollywood Reporter quoted filmmakers Ron Howard and Brian Grazer are saying they'll donate to the ACLU as a way of protesting Georgia's law rather than move production of the movie Hillbilly Elegy out of the state. That sounds going to be a winner. In the end, Perkins wrote in his Washington update, they know that'll cost them less than moving to an over-regulated liberal state with sky-high taxes. Yeah, look at all these things. We did this one already. Star Wars director pledges money to fight pro-life heartbeat law. Star Wars director pledges money to fight Georgia's pro-life heartbeat law. Anywho. Yeah, are they really going to be able to lure people into this over-regulated, over-taxed... Who would start a business here besides an idiot like me? Let's see what you guys are saying about this. Let me jump down to the bottom of the chat. Hashtag Mike for moving. I don't know why anyone still wants to live in California, says Perkindo. There are plenty of other places to live with the same weather and access to amenities. Wrong, Perkindo. Wrong. There is nowhere besides Israel, nowhere on planet Earth with weather like San Diego. So, no. Sorry. I just need to find a way to cut San Diego off of the rest of California so it can be its own sovereign state. If we can figure that out, that'd be great. WK says, I think the new heartbeat bills are mostly a lure to invite a lawsuit to get abortion back before the SCOTUS. That's the end game with these new justices. I know, and we've discussed that before, whether or not that is a good idea and whether or not that will cause a backlash that is actually going to be worse for the pro-life cause in the short term or the long term, actually. I'm not sure. The bill is going 100% nowhere. One sponsor of the story is DOA. Oh, is it, Kevin? I didn't notice that. Hawaii isn't bad. Hawaii is very liberal. It's very liberal. Medellin, Colombia has the best weather, and it's filled with less idiots. Isn't Colombia socialist? Artemis? Am I wrong? More here and tech me art. Huh? What? People act weird when I say I'm pro-life atheist. They don't understand it. It's because they're all just indoctrinated by this pro-death media, right? Hollywood. There we go. We're talking about Hollywood. It's Hollywood promoting this abortion argument to everybody in the country. And so unless you already have had someone, either religious or otherwise, explain to you the fallacy of this ridiculous argument, then I think you're already kind of indoctrinated into being left-wing. Mike, have you watched the Steven Crowder video in Hawaii? Yes, Peter, I have, actually. Last Crusader, is it true that Roe from Roe versus Wade became pro-life? Absolutely, she did, and she fought for, I think, did she pass away recently? But she fought loudly for pro-life causes ever since. Let's see. Oh, were you trying to say teach me art, Withheld? Teach me art? It says tech me art. Per Kindle. Let me scroll up a little bit. Per Kindle says Mississippi passed the HART bill a while back, and federal judge has put an injunction in place to stop it from going into effect. So we're going through it here in Mississippi too. JW says, don't know the answer. It's a tough decision. I wouldn't want my wife to die, but I also wouldn't want my wife to have to live with the fact that she chose to kill her baby. Life is tragic sometimes. It's life. You can't get away from life. Yep. P Money, I know I shouldn't talk about business, but it's less than 1,500. Yay! Yes, less than 1,500. If two people chose right now to have me draw them in the book, that would be $1,500. Bam, right there. We need more Bless This Mess. Kevin Ryan says, maybe sometime I will have the time to get back into doing some Bless This Mess. I do miss doing the book. My family loves it, but the kids are growing up so fast. Abortionfacts.com from Matt V. Less than 1% of abortions are to save the life of the mother. Yes. Last Crusader. It was a twin survivor of abortion that changed my mind. They killed her sister, and she survived. Just unacceptable. Oof. Jersey Devil says, no, I'm talking about choosing her own life. She probably believes, based on propaganda, that her life would just be over if she gave birth to it. It's not true, but I understand. No. Your option, if you really just don't want to raise a child yourself, adopt it. That doesn't make your life over. And if your argument is, oh, I couldn't bear to have my own child out there in the world and not have me, you're just being selfish. That's 100% just being selfish, right? You're so selfish that you would rather kill your own child than have someone else raise it. Oh my gosh. Imagine that. All right, back down to the bottom. Norma McCorvey, Jane Roe, died in 2017. I thought she passed away. I thought she did. Matt says Jane Roe has confessed that she lied about being raped, and they used that to get to SCOTUS. She became a pro-life advocate. She did not only lie. Nathan Massengill, I think that's his name. The doctor that was one of the founders of NARAL. Yeah, he admitted that they all lied. They lied about the death rate statistics of women getting back alley abortions and all that stuff. They lied about the statistic of how many women were seeking back alley abortions. They lied about everything to get Roe versus Wade to the Supreme Court. And then it wasn't until the 70s when the sonogram was invented, and he saw, after terminating the lives of his own grandchildren, aborting, going into his own daughter and killing his own grandchildren with no qualms, because it's a clump of cells, it's a parasite, blah 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 blah. When the sonogram was invented, he went and he saw, he had one of his technicians record an abortion in action, and he saw the silent scream of a child trying to get away from the instruments that were ripping him limb from limb. At that moment, when that reality faced him, he shut down his practice, started fighting for the pro-life cause, and Yeah, and started admitting, yeah, we lied. We lied about everything to get this case to the Supreme Court in order to make abortion legal. And they were successful. They're evil. Those who want to kill children, who want to fight for the right to kill children, they may not think they're evil, but it is evil. Murdering innocents, there's no way around it. It is an evil act. You may not be an evil person. You may just be a deluded person, someone who is bought into the propaganda, the lies of the left, the lies of the pro-abortionists. But it is evil. The act itself is evil. And if you don't own up to that, then you're accepting that evil into your life, your psyche, your soul. And you really, really need to freaking consider that. Sacrificing your own children for some future. Yeah, the best future is to have children and grandchildren. What do you want? I want a better job. I want a career. Friggin', what's that going to do for you at the end of your life? You're going to have a gold-plated Mercedes? Oh my gosh, I would rather have a dozen grandchildren filling my life with love and laughter than sitting on a mountain of gold at the end of my life and be alone and priorities, the priorities in this world, so bizarre. It's Moloch worship, Larry Romano says, and Larry Romano is correct. Where is my, let me see, restream, check my dashboard real quick. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. She lied? Yes, withheld rather not say. She lied. I know, right? Well, think about it. If you're you want to kill your own baby, if your morality is already so skewed that you actively want to murder your own baby, then I don't think lying is a line you're not willing to cross. Right? Doctrine of the atheist. Aaron says, atheism. There is no such thing. There are no set of doctrines you have to adhere to be an atheist. I am an atheist. It doesn't conflict with me adapting conservative views. Right. Yeah, there are. I know multiple conservative atheists. It's being a conservative is about being rational and reasonable and logical and understanding history and understanding what works and what doesn't. For some reason, more devoutly religious people think that way, because more devoutly religious people are conservative. But there are rational, reasonable atheists out there, and I have plenty of conservative atheist friends. Why so many of them go the other direction kind of boggles my mind. I don't know. Aaron, you probably struggle with that with your atheist friends. Epic battle in the chat. Oh, yeah? Withheld says, I want to go to Hawaii, but I don't want to be irradiated by the Pacific if there are radioactive junk there. Yes, be pro-adoption, not pro-choice, please. Adoption is simply the best choice. How does it work once you hit 100,000? Or should not be asking that right now. You should not be asking that right now. But I will release a new tier. So, Abortion is part of the plan for population control. That's another part of the indoctrination, isn't it? This whole lie that we're overpopulated. Oh my gosh, has anyone... Go to Google Earth. Go to Google. If you've never taken an airplane across this great and glorious continent we live on and seen that we are vastly empty. Something like 90 to 95% of the population of America lives within 50 miles of the coast. We live on an empty continent. Australia is an empty continent or island, whatever they're calling it now. I've flown over Europe. Much of Europe is empty. Yeah, name a continent. None of them are overpopulated. It's just everybody lives at the coast, and so the coastal areas seem very overpopulated because everybody wants to live by the coast, which I understand. I do. But yeah, it's, you know what, for $40,000, which is half of a down payment, a third of a down payment here in San Diego, for $40,000 you can go buy like 40 freaking acres in a mansion in, well, maybe not a mansion, 40 acres and a mule, 40 acres and a house in a number of states. Because there's so much empty land, people, you know. So, but yeah, they use that argument also for abortion. It's all propagandizing. Thank you, Jersey Devil. Last Crusader says, yeah, I was an atheist and completely and totally against liberal scumbags. JW says, was it true that Spartans used to kill their babies if they had a defect or something, or was that just in the movies? I think that was actually true. The value of life is sort of a post-Christian thing. Very much. 5 minutes. Oh. Yeah, in Rome, I mean, you were allowed, okay, and I've never had anyone actually contradict me, but I don't have a source for this, but I have been told that the Roman law was that essentially you owned your child, right? You created him, you created her. Therefore, at any time in that child's life, even if they're 30 years old, if they displease you, then you can have a late-term abortion. Life just simply did not have the value. And you know what? That probably has something to do with the amount of death, right? We live in a world now where hello. Hi. I think so. Oh, hold on a second. Actually, I'm gonna give her my phone and she can call you back. Alright. I'll be right back. Joe? Call Carla. So we live in a world now where it's not just the value of life, but because we value life so much, we have done so much. We've had medical and scientific advancements that have prolonged and been able to save life. I meet people who they're 30 years old and they say, I've never known anyone who's died. Someone dying who's close to you is devastating, right? It's devastating. It's more devastating the first time it happens. I don't want to say you can become numb to it, but you can become desensitized to it. I've been having friends die since I was a teenager. By the time I was in my 20s, I probably knew half a dozen people who had died. I don't know if that's just abnormal. And so my like really close friends dying, or my close family dying, that's like, you know, still mind-numbingly crippling. But in a world where people died all the time, I guess soldiers would be more attuned to this, or, you know, gang members, right? People who face death, who've had their best friends die like flies. It changes your, I would imagine it changes your perspective on the value of life and how important it is, you know, to stay alive. You learn to accept it, says Church Bell. You learn to accept it as part of life. And so it wasn't until Christianity, I don't know if it's just Christianity. I know that you know, Christ put such a value on life as did not exist in Roman culture, as did not exist in, perhaps in Jewish culture it did, but not in the general culture of the world at that time, and probably at this time in certain parts of the world too. Yeah. I don't even know where I was going with that. I think my brain got a little discombobulated by the phone call. I need to take this phone out of the room. Sidebar. Look into how much land the federal government owns, especially in the West. For example, Nevada has almost 85% of its land owned by the feds. It's about controlling populations to get them into city centers. Matt V., which is unconstitutional. According to the Constitution, the federal government is only allowed to own land like the size of a freaking postage stamp in states. States are supposed to have sovereignty over their own lands. All this federal land granting crap is just malarkey. They're only supposed to maintain enough land in federal possession. I forget what exactly the wording of the law is, but essentially to function, right? Essentially to function. So like eminent domain for building a border wall. That has to function, right? We have to have a wall that functions to maintain the integrity of our borders. If we have a Air Force base or something, you know, that could be federal land because the Air Force would require this much land to do this much stuff. Granting millions of acres to the federal government for natural preserves and all of this stuff, while it's great for nature, it's completely unconstitutional. And I really wish Trump would challenge it. Oh, they would hate it. Wouldn't they hate it? If Trump was like, well, I read the Constitution here, and it says that we're not allowed to own all these national parks. So I'm just going to get rid of those stupid laws, and if you want to challenge it, take it to the Supreme Court because it's unconstitutional. There's nothing in the Constitution limiting federal ownership of land. Sorry, Kevin Ryan says. No, I'm pretty sure there is. I saw it before. I know doing research during the stream is generally slows you down. Constitution on federal land ownership. What does the Constitution say about federal land ownership? Under the Property Clause, Article 4, Section C, Chapter 2, land title to the federal government and held outside state boundaries is territory. Federal land held within the state boundaries is other property. If the host state agrees, the federal government can acquire an enclave within the state under the Enclave Clause. This grants governmental jurisdiction to the federal government, but the federal government has to acquire a title separately. Washington, D.C., the most important enclave, for example, is under federal jurisdiction. Much of the land is held by other parties, including individuals. The Property Clause gives Congress unconditional power to dispose of property and authority to regulate what is already held. It does not mention a power to acquire. Under the Treaty Clause, Article 6, the federal government may acquire land outside state boundaries as long as the area is governed as a territory. The federal government may retain any land it deems best. Although now we are all states, so the federal government, that doesn't count anymore. As for acreage, other property within states' boundaries, under the Necessary and Proper Clause, the federal government may acquire and retain land necessary for carrying out its enumerated powers. This includes parcels for military bases, post offices, buildings to house federal employees undertaking enumerated functions, and the like. It is not necessary to form federal enclaves for these purposes. But within state boundaries, the Constitution grants no authority to retain acreage for unenumerated purposes, such as land for grazing, mineral development, agriculture, forests, or parks. Once a state is created, it is thereby no longer a territory. The federal government has a duty to dispose of tracts not used for enumerated processes. How dare you question me on my show? Mike, find that part of the Constitution, por favor. I just read it. I just read it to you. It is Article 4, Section 3, Chapter 2. The Enclave Clause is I-817. The Treaty Clause is 222. Also Article 6. So feel free to peruse, if you will. Guam is a territory? Is it? We still have some territories. Puerto Rico is an American territory. Oh, that's right. It doesn't have statehood. Okay, so the government can own Guam and Puerto Rico. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't, I say. Who's with me? And they certainly should not own millions and millions and millions of acres. They currently own, like, I think it was on that article, like 20 to 40% of some states. It's insane. It's insane. Now say you're sorry, Kevin. Why are there a bunch of monsters in this chat? Are there monsters in the chat? Oh, because they're waiting for Monster Hunt to be released, which will be in $1,305. Ooh, and I just got another. Let's see. No, hasn't moved. We need someone who knows the law here. Heh. Let me check where we are on time. Why is this not updating my time? Very strange. Very strange. Oh, we are over an hour. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I am wasting your precious time and your good favor. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're here for our D&Q champ. Thanks, guys. Love you all. I know that I'm supposed to start streaming in about an hour with Quinn on his channel. Let me see if I got an update from him while we're here. Okay, 37 minutes ago he said probably like an hour and a half. So I'll probably wrap this stream up and then start up another one for the sole purpose of filling that hour. Or maybe I should go eat. I am starving. Maybe I'll go eat. I'll go eat. But I really, really do want to promote the Dickens out of Lone Star today. So thanks y'all for being here. Love you all. God bless. Good day. Get yourself some Lone Star. I'm actually still here. Thanks, everybody. God bless.